the buck stops here. The murder mystery that has the country transfixed. The low secrets and lies of India's high society. The skeletons that have come tumbling out of the cupboard in the Sheena Bora murder mystery. A mother, Indrani Mukherjee, charged with having killed her daughter, whose identity she hid for years. A birth certificate that the Guwahati police now appear to investigate as having been forged, where the grandfather of Sheena Bora has in fact been shown as her father. Indrani Mukherjee now also accused of having impersonated her dead daughter's identity, answering text messages from her phone long after she was dead, even sending a breakup message to her own stepson, somebody that Sheena was dating, Rahul Mukherjee, to say that the relationship is off. Every day, new lurid details are coming out. And as we look at what happens now when murders like this take place in the age of media, the media too has been confronted with questions. Are we going overboard? Is this about the vicarious pleasure of people lapping up salacious details? Or is this a legitimate crime story about the murder of a young woman for whom justice may have proved elusive had the media not been all over this story? Let's introduce our panel this evening. Joining us on the program, Raveena Kohli. Raveena was, of course, formerly the president of Star News. Peter Mukherjee, remember, was at that time the CEO of the entire Star network, and Raveena has known him well. With me in the studio is Tavleen Singh, well-known columnist and author, also somebody who does call Bombay her home, where Peter and Indrani were residing for the last year or so. Also with us on the program is Anil Dharkar, joining us from Mumbai, well-known writer and columnist and commentator. We're also joined by Neena Pillai. Neena Pillai is, of course, somebody who has seen what the media gaze can do to trials and issues and controversies after her own husband died. And we're also joined by Arnav Sikdar. Arnav Sikdar is joining us from Guwahati. He's a friend, a close personal friend of Sheena Bora. He'll be with us in just a moment from now. Let me start with you, Anil, to give us a sense of what the view is from people who knew Peter Mukherjee and Indrani Mukherjee. Everybody's now expressed their sort of horror, their shock. But, you know, the portrait that's emerging of Indrani Mukherjee, somebody charged with killing her daughter, a daughter whose identity she hid. She used her phone to send text messages to her boyfriend. That boyfriend was her stepson, the son of Peter Mukherjee from another marriage. A birth certificate that's now forged. Is this all of India just lapping up somebody else's private demons, or is this a legitimate criminal investigation that journalists must probe?
Well, I think it's a criminal investigation which has to be probed by the police. It really is not something that the media has to do. When should a media step in a case like this? If the police doesn't do its job, if there is injustice, like let's say in the Arushi case,
yeah.
That's when I think the media has to come in and redress it and try and get things right. Or if the police is not going after something which has to be gone into, the media has to egg the police on, has to egg the authorities on.
But Anil, Anil,
very silently.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was
very
just
silently. The police has been working on this case, and I think it came to the media when everything was virtually solved. The police had a watertight case.
But you know, the fact is
now
let me disagree there, because in 2012, when Sheena Bora goes missing, her boyfriend, her lover Rahul Mukherjee actually goes and reports her as a missing person, and at that time nothing is done. This case is unraveled because of an anonymous tip-off. The police accidentally stumbled on this case. So Tavleen, let me bring you in here. What are the questions that we're confronted with here as journalists, as citizens? It points to how little perhaps we, you know, all of us would have met Peter Mukherjee and Indrani Mukherjee at some point in our lives. They belong to our industry to start with. Do you agree with Anil that the police has actually done its job and the media is trying to take its place?
No, I don't, because for 3 years this girl disappeared. And how is it that the police never once came to find out where she was? Nobody looked for her, which is terrible. And I actually live quite close by. I have a house near Penn. And I remember the story of this body being found, etc. It was never investigated. you know, because they probably thought it was not important. So I actually think that the media in this case has played exactly the same interventionist role as we did in the Jessica Lal case. Let's not forget that had the media not intervened in that case, Manu Sharma would have walked.
So you see this as a story of a young woman
I see
murdered.
Yeah.
The police believes by her
No,
own
let
mother.
me finish, Anil.
yeah.
I see it as a story in which sometimes the media needs to play a more active role because we have a judiciary that is in some, you know, in some kind of predated era where modernity hasn't caught up with it. It works too slowly. Murderers remain in jail for decades. Terrorists remain in decades. The police has picked up on this because...
So you say the aggression of the media is needed on this case. Anil, a quick comment and then I want to get in Raveena Rajkoli. Anil.
Yeah, what I want to say is that in 2012 when the murder took place, was the media anywhere present? It was not.
We didn't know then.
In this case,
we didn't know.
No, exactly. So let the media not take credit for this particular case. I think the police has done its job. Maybe they stumbled upon it, you know, accidentally. But the media cannot take any credit at all. The media can take credit for a number of cases. Jessica Lal.
The media has interviewed the father. The media has actually put forward the story.
Anil, the fact is it's not about taking credit. It's not about taking credit.
The story unraveled with
Sorry,
with
is that
Mukherjee?
Nina, is that you trying to come in? Nina, go ahead and then Raveena.
Yeah,
Nina?
it's me.
Yeah.
I think Peter Mukherjee and Indrani's son opened the Pandora's box with their comments, and till then it might have been the perfect investigation of a murder with our top cop heading it. But once the Pandora's box was opened and Peter Mukherjee said, I feel betrayed, I didn't know she had a daughter, I thought that was her sister, and then her own son came and said, my sister needs justice, and the parents knew, you know, Peter Mukherjee knew, so did my mother, everybody else. And now the grandmother is saying Peter knew. And so it was not a media trial to start with. But yes, it escalated into one because the circumstances became very crucial to the investigation. Which came first, the chicken or the egg, could be debated on a later date. But I think right now the media is playing a very vital role in uncovering certain facts that may not have come to light, like the birth certificates, like
the contradictions,
the young man having some conversations
Nina, the contradictions in Peter Mukherjee's own account. Peter Mukherjee has... Peter Mukherjee has
he
maintained...
opened his own Pandora's box.
No, he
went to every channel.
And said he had no idea. But his own son, Rahul Mukherjee, reported... just once again, his own son reported...
His mother-in-law says...
His own mother-in-law says Peter knew.
Says he knew.
His son reported her as a missing person. His son says he told his father that indeed, this is Sheena's Indrani's daughter.
I think the media should have gotten a lot before.
You're saying the media should have gotten even earlier?
Yes.
No, there was a conspiracy of silence. There was a conspiracy of silence, and it needed to be broken. And if the media intervened and interviewed the relevant people and broke that silence, they, I think, in cahoots have opened this Pandora's box, which is revealing more secrets than, you know, I think if there was nothing to hide, Peter would have said, I'm hiring the best lawyers, I'm defending my wife, and, you know, and so on and so forth. But, you know, there's much more than meets the eye to this case. And I think it needs to be thoroughly investigated by whichever agency with the help of the media.
Let me bring in, Anil, you're clearly in a minority so far on this, but let me bring in Raveena. Raveena, you had the opportunity to actually work with Peter Mukherjee. How do you, beyond the initial shock and disbelief that anyone who knew them must have felt, how do you see what's unraveling? I think there are crucial holes in almost every account we've heard so far. You know, you have the son,
Exactly.
you have Peter's son saying that he reported Sheena as a missing person, but if he had been with her for 6 years, would he so easily just accept one SMS message that Indrani Mukherjee seems to have sent impersonating as Sheena, calling off their relationship? Question 1. If he told his father that he believed that the love of his life had gone missing, wouldn't he have gone public? Wouldn't he have insisted on a police probe? Peter Mukherjee insisting he didn't know. We have his own mother-in-law saying that he knew. You have a forged birth certificate showing the grandfather is the father. By the way, we actually do not know who the father of Sheena and Mikhail Bora are. We actually don't know. We assumed it was the first husband, Siddharth Das. Siddharth Das, living on a tea estate in Tripura, is not speaking. Raveena.
I think this is the most unholy, holy story I've heard in a very long time. There are so many holes in this case that I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg. I think we have a long way to go before the story really
That's where
unravels
the media
properly.
has filled the holes.
Yeah, and you believe, Raveena, that the media focus on this story thus is needed?
I think the media focusing on any important story is needed. The media is a reflection of society and the truth. And if we can help in any way as an industry, and we can help in any way, we should do it. I don't think we are interfering in any
But this
investigation.
family was
In
a
fact, we're just
creation
aiding
of
it.
the media. They were media honchos. They should have known how to play well to the media because they controlled a vast media asset at some point or the other. So, you know, I agree with Raveena. There are a lot of things that are going to unravel in the next few days, which is possibly going to shock. But I think I heard her speak somewhere else and she said that money, a lot of money, there was a trail of money which is suspect. And I think at the bottom of all this is not some property in Guwahati. I think it has more to do with the money that Raveena talked about.
Raveena, come in on that. You know, the fact is that whether it was Arushi, you know, in Arushi, for example, nobody could ever agree on what the motive was. And there were whispers about so-called honor killing. That suggestion was here as well, that Peter Mukherjee and Indrani Mukherjee were upset because it was effectively his son from another marriage and her daughter from, we don't actually know which relationship, dating each other. And that was the problem. I mean, would any mother kill her daughter for that? Raveena? Or is this about something else that we don't even know?
From a society, honestly, honestly, I would just like to say, do you think you and I come from a society where honor killings are actually possible?
No, I don't, which is why I never buy this theory. But
I
then
do not
people say
believe
we're
this.
elitist and we believe
I
that our
never buy
class
this
is
theory
incapable
either.
of it.
I do not believe it is not. I do not believe it's an honor killing. Where is the honor in the story?
No.
Yeah. So what do you believe
First
it
and
is?
foremost,
What do you believe it
dishonor.
is?
So
What do you believe it is?
I believe it is a huge cover-up on the part of a woman who got into a situation beyond her control where she was trying to achieve and become someone she was not becoming or could never become. And things have gone horribly out of hand in her life. I feel sorry for her, in fact. I have known her in my star days, and I have known how ambitious she was. And I have known how manipulative she could have been. I also know how vulnerable she could have been.
But why do you feel sorry for her, Tavleen?
No,
I mean,
but I think-
why do you feel
yeah,
sorry for
I
her? She's
feel-
charged
I
with
don't think
murdering her
sorry
daughter.
is-
She's
I would
charged
feel
with
sorry
murdering
for
her
anybody
daughter.
who's.
It's the
I
most-
feel
I
sorry
think
for the
it's the most
daughter.
sorry for the
I feel
girl.
very sorry for the daughter. I feel
Yeah, I
very
feel
sorry
sad
for
that the
everybody
girl
in the
has
story,
died.
to be honest.
She was only
not the mother.
24.
I
you
feel
know?
bad for everybody in the story.
But why do we feel bad for Indrani
I
if she's
don't
guilty?
feel
I feel bad for
She's
her
guilty.
daughter.
If she's guilty. If
Because
she's
it was a
proven
cold-blooded
guilty.
I feel bad
murder.
for
If-
Indrani
if-
because
you
Even
know,
if
if I may
she's, look at
speak-
her values.
if I
What
may
were her
speak-
values? Her values
Imagine leaving
are
your
the
child
lowest kind.
who's
If she
dead
leaves her
in your
children
car
Okay, Tavleen-
overnight. I
Tavleen's
think
trying to make
it's
a
so
point.
cold.
Ravina, 1 minute. Nina, 1 minute. Anil, 1 minute. Tavleen's trying to make a point.
I'm trying to make the
I'm not
point
very
that,
good
that
on these noisy debates.
all right,
Okay, one at a time.
No,
Then
no, no,
Tavleen's
I'm
making a
not trying to
point,
be
then we'll come
noisy,
back
but,
to you. Yeah.
But look, even if she hadn't murdered her daughter, we have a woman who abandons 2 small children to go off because of her ambitions and her, her
But
crazy.
is ambition a bad word? Why is
If
it
you
that
abandon
ambition, when
children-
juxtaposed
I'm
with
sorry,
a woman,
if
is
you-
used
I'm
differently
sorry, if
than
you
for a man?
abandon
I'm
children-
not making a case for
if you
Indrani. I do not know
if
her.
you
I did not
abandon
know her.
children,
But
it is a bad word. It is your fundamental duty after you have a child
Yes.
is to look after it. And if you abandon your
Yeah.
children for ambition, then, you know, I mean, how much worse can you be as a person? You don't have to kill your daughter to be reviled. I mean, you know, and then you lie your way up. Do you crawl up the social ladder?
But what about the accountability of Peter Mukherjee in this?
Well, I'm not,
there are
I'm
too
not
many
sure.
holes
I
in
think
his
that
story
maybe
as
Peter
well.
Mukherjee was a man in love and was ready to believe his wife.
But there are contradictions. His own son.
No,
His own
It's
son
true,
says
it's
Peter
true.
Mukherjee.
I would have listened to my son.
Okay, Raveena, I'll allow you to
would
clarify
listen to my
what
son.
you meant by saying you feel sorry for her. Indrani, that is.
Look, you feel sorry for any human being whose life turns out this way. I'm not defending her actions. I'm just saying that I met her at a time, I don't think she had even realized how ambitious she was. Because when I met her, she told me that all she had was Vidhi. Yes, so she hid her past. She hid her past from her husband. Forget about me, who am I? She hid her past from everybody. Maybe she didn't want to deal with it. I'm not saying she's a good woman for doing that. But I can understand, can you imagine what she's going through as a human being? I understand she's being called a criminal today. She's not my favorite human being on earth, I don't care. But I'm saying it is a horrible, sordid tale for everybody involved. Don't you feel sorry for the husband? Don't you feel sorry for the stepson?
I
Don't
only
you
feel
for
sorry
the
at the
son?
moment for the
I feel
young
sorry
woman
for
who's
her
dead.
parents.
I feel
so
for
do
the
I.
I
little
only
girl
feel
who
sorry
had-
for the
who
young
was
woman
killed.
who's
I
dead.
feel very
And her
sorry for the
brother.
young woman who's
Yeah.
there, but I feel sorry for everybody
Cold-blooded
involved.
murder.
Okay, Anil, I'll allow you to
I
come in.
agree it's cold-blooded murder.
Anil, you know, I think I would want to say that the only person we should feel bad for right now is a young woman who was killed in 2012, who was left for dead. Nobody except her boyfriend at the time tried to look for her. He at least reported her as a missing person. We don't know if the police did anything at that time.
Yes, he did.
And if Indrani Mukherjee
No,
and
they
Peter
didn't.
Mukherjee are part of this conspiracy, then the only person we should be feeling sorry for right now is Sheena Bora, the young
It's
woman
true.
who's dead. Anil, and then I want to actually hear from one of our friends.
Absolutely.
But Anil, go ahead. Yeah.
Absolutely right. And first of all, you have to feel sorry for anyone who's murdered because that's the end of their life. And this is a young woman of 24 with a whole life ahead of her.
Yeah.
And what did she have to do with her mother's ambitions?
Yeah.
What did she have to do with a mother who disowned her and introduced her to society as her sister?
Yeah.
So she was forced to live a lie, not of her own making. You know, you really have to feel sorry for this girl, who by all accounts was a typical young student who went to St. Xavier's College
Yeah.
and would have made a life for herself. And then she falls in love with Peter Mukherjee's son,
Yeah.
who's an attractive young man of her own age. And then she seems to be punished for that.
But we don't even know if that's the
So
motive.
really,
No, we don't know.
we
if
don't know
if
if
that's
that
the
is the motive.
motive.
Yes.
Can I come in, Barkha, just
Absolutely.
for one
Yeah. Okay, Nina, and then I have to go to a friend of Sheena's who's with us. Nina, make your point. Yeah.
Sure. I just want to say that I find it a little awkward as a mother that you abandon or kill one child and then you adopt another daughter from another marriage and try and say that this is my child. You know, I mean, there's a certain sad heartlessness to all of this. It's like if it's true that she did away with her first daughter, which it all seems to be leading to, then how do you then take the second daughter and bring her into the fold and try to put this agony through again? And then there's reports that she was trying to kill the son. So it's all a huge mystery and it's a human tragedy. But I think the people who are culpable must be brought to book.
No, that of course we all agree with. Now, Ornab, you were a friend of Sheena's. Ornab. Can you share with us, what did she tell you? Did she tell you who her mother was, who her father was? There's some confusion even about who her father was. Ornab.
Exactly. Like since we were kids, all we knew was that like the parents were separated. I vaguely remember Sheena telling much about her mother, although I remember like Sheena told that she was really pretty. I think I remember she got like really old pictures of her mom to school once, I guess. Like, you know, pictures of her parents when they were together, I think. And some of my friends do recall seeing her dad That too once or twice maybe. That's it. All we know about her like family. Even though like the grandparents were always visiting the school in any function, in anything, they really like showered love on us when we were kids. They were really nice, very nice, like old gentlemen and women.
But now,
who are actually really nice people.
But now,
Arnab,
the birth certificate actually shows the grandfather as the father. It's all very bewildering. The old people you're talking about, Indrani Mukherjee's parents who brought up Sheena and Mikhail.
No, but Barkha, how sad that is, that she was carrying these pictures of her mother, talking about her mother being a pretty woman. Obviously, there was some pride in that, and yet that mother disowns her.
Yeah.
I was looking in the dictionary today. There's a word for a daughter killing the mother, that is matricide. But there is no word for a mother killing the daughter. There is just no word for it.
That's true. Anil.
Because maternal love is the foundation of our society. And without that, where are we?
Of life.
I want to say something.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of talk on all these channels on high society breaking down.
Yeah.
This is actually the story of a small town breaking down its values.
But there would be no interest in Indrani Mukherjee if she were not high society, right?
I know that. But I'm just saying to you, what we need to probably be more worried about is whether there's a breakdown in values in small town India.
You don't think that this is a judgment of India's glitterati?
No, I don't think. Of course, there will be, because this is the way we always think, blame the rich, and I mean, Nina Pillai will be blamed rather than the people who killed her husband,
and Tavleen,
right? And Tavleen. No, what about
all my
the people
friends
who killed her husband?
And Raveena and everyone.
Her husband was killed by the police in a jail cell, and they said, "Oh, it's Nina. She behaved so badly. She shouldn't have worn a fur coat." So, I mean, and we're getting a lot of that with this story.
But Tavleen, we were both single mothers and we brought up our children rather well. Let's take another viewpoint.
I don't know about mine, but
you what happened to me. But 20 years ago, I mean, you have to live, you have to sort of live again. And I think being a mother for both of us was a very important role. And I think that's where I fault Indrani. Maybe I don't fault her for her lies. I don't fault her for the high life, for her drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's her role as a mother,
Just letting her own children down time after time after time. All three of them, her stepchildren, she left all the children down. And that is the sadness of the whole story, if there is one. Let me
just place a contrarian question before all of you. One minute. Let me just place a contrarian question. And the contrarian question is this: that do we, Raveena, need to separate the strands of criminality, murder, motive from value judgment? I'm placing a contrarian question here on how many affairs Indrani has. It's her business. How many times she married? It's her business. And can we sit here and make a judgment on how she was as a mother? Of course we can if she killed her daughter. Of course we can. But
she abandoned her daughter.
Abandoned and then killed. But do we need to separate the strands, Raveena?
Exactly.
Once again, Arnab, I'm just coming to you.
It's simple.
Raveena.
But I'd also like to come.
Yeah, can I just get Raveena in first? Yeah, Raveena.
Yes, we do need to separate the two issues. I would just like to say, I'm not a mother. And the reason I feel sorry for this woman is because having had children, if her circumstances were such or her mindset was such that she had to abandon them and even kill one of them, I feel sorry for her as a human being. And I think we should not judge her for being a woman in society and ambitious and having lovers and husbands. I don't care. I think as a mother, her actions are more significant than what she was as a wannabe media tycoon or whatever it is that we're calling her.
Yeah. Yeah, Anil, and then Arnab.
Yeah, I was going to say, Barkha, that while we condemned Indrani for being such an awful, vicious mother, not really being a mother, we forget that she had a third child. She had a second daughter, whom she has not disowned at all. In fact, she is very much a part of the family. And Peter Mukherjee, in fact, adopted her. And it seems as if there are two Indranis, one who lived in the present and the one who was in the past, which she wanted to disown.
She abandoned
She wanted to wipe out that
daughter
past
too with her husband.
and wipe. No, she wanted to wipe out that past, which included her 2 children.
That's terrible.
Because
That's unforgivable.
Yeah, I know it's terrible.
No,
but
that's no excuse.
And there's
She
no point in saying she's a good
even
mother to
let
one
this
child. That's worse.
down.
That means that she was capable of being a good mother and decided to abandon that
Can we
for
just
something
can we
else.
just get a view from Sheena's friend? Ornav, you spoke about how she used to carry these pictures, these photographs. She used to say her mother was pretty. Did she ever explain why her mother did not live with her?
Yep.
Did she ever explain why her mother was not with her?
Neither that we also asked about her,
Yeah.
that much. But she told us that her mother was, that her parents were separated and her mother actually lives abroad. I'll tell a thing that, at the end of the day, Sheena went to a person who was never there for her. Suddenly. It was like we were growing up together. She was really happy with her grandparents. But at some point of time, I think it was the beginning of class 9 or class 10th, things were getting a little different with her. And then we heard stories about her mother actually visiting the place, her place getting renovated, she was getting new cars, she was going for world trips. Okay, fine, maybe her mother is back in her life again. And maybe her mother is trying to give her a new, better life, something like that. So who would have known this would turn up like this? And then, but that's it. Then again, her whole thing, lifestyle was, she was friends till class 10th. Okay, she was a brilliant girl. She was brilliant in sports, arts, music. You won't feel sorry for her as much as you will be in my position. I can tell you that. If you knew Sheena as a child.
But it's an interesting point you raised, Tavleen. At some point, the mother and daughter do reconnect. She comes back into their lives, perhaps there's financial support.
Has anyone investigated why she came back?
No, we don't know that.
It'd be interesting. How come you guys are such busybodies? You haven't found that out? Because that is very interesting. And
Web of companies in
and it's
Sheena's
also
name.
very interesting. It would be very interesting to find out more about what Ornav is telling us. About this little girl growing up lonely and whatever in a small town, waiting for her beautiful mother to show up from abroad. I mean, it's a heartrending story.
And Nina, you're suggesting there that in a sense, Sheena provided legal cover to create this web of companies which were channeling Indrani Mukherjee's financial and social ambitions.
That's what I heard Raveena say, and she probably knows this better. But all I'm saying is you don't swap one daughter for another when it's convenient to you. She abandoned even her second child, then marries Peter, and then the grandmother says, she said, why don't you adopt your second daughter? So things were going wrong with the first daughter, and you pick up a second daughter. It's just, that's the part that's heartless. The financial side, Raveena I heard her speak about it, and I said that makes sense to me.
Raveena, do you want to come in on that? Motive will be key to understanding and decoding what happened here. Motive for why Sheena comes back into Indrani's life or the other way around. Indrani comes back into Sheena's life. There are also all kinds of whispers, the son, Sheena's brother, suggesting that everybody has missed the real motive, that there was a man close to Indrani who was also close to Sheena. We haven't spoken about that. And also, is Peter Mukherjee getting a really easy ride through all this?
Peter seems to have vanished.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he's safe. I don't know.
Well,
but yes, I have spoken about.
He's very much around and saying, I'm not saying anything right now.
Culpability there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Raveena, go ahead on the motive.
Okay. I mean, I have spoken about the money angle because when the INX business shut down and changed hands, and there was a lot of scandal related to that, and it was deemed to be a miserable failure, etc. I was aware of certain people who were in business dealings with INX who had mentioned to me that they had heard, and this is all conjecture, I'm not a crime detective, I'm not a crime novelist, I'm not a lawyer, so please don't take me for that. I'm just saying, I had heard that there were Benami companies, there were kickbacks going into those companies, and there was a lot of money that left the country at the time. and which is why these were able to migrate so fast. I think Peter holds a UK passport.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he has been able to legally adopt Vidhi. This is something for a lawyer to answer. If Vidhi's father is alive and well, I don't think he can legally adopt her.
Well enough to kill
the first thing
the
that came
first
to my
daughter.
mind is if
Sad.
yeah, I mean, I'm saying, how can Vidhi be
I don't
adopted?
understand the link between money
He
and
must
the
be
murder
the
of her
guardian.
You don't.
I
I think
don't
there is a
understand
lot of
the-
money involved somewhere.
But how would it be connected to killing
There
her
is.
daughter?
Raveena, Tavleen saying, why is that?
Because-
Why is that a motive?
Raveena says that some things were in her name.
Yeah, I think it's a cover-up. I think it's a cover-up.
Cover up for whom or what?
I think it's a massive cover-up. All of them are involved. I think they all knew about the money, which is why there was a lot of shut-up money involved all these years. And maybe
I
that
agree
shut-up
with
money is no longer there, so people have no longer shut up. And she's gone into jail, and this murder has come to light, and the son now knows that there's no money coming in now. Who's going to give me the money? I might as well get justice. I don't know what his motives
Which
are, but I
son? You
believe
mean
that all of them knew
Mikhail
about
Bora. So you are suggesting that perhaps
There
the
is only
children-
one son, according to me.
Indrani's son, you mean, right? Not Peter's son. You're talking about Indrani's son.
Indrani's son, yes.
Yes,
No,
Indra-
not Peter's son.
not Peter's son.
I don't believe Peter's sons were involved in this in any way.
Anil, yes.
But Barka, you said earlier that is Peter getting away too easily?
Yeah.
But I find that a very, very strange comment, because the man is going through the worst possible ringer that any man can go through. His whole life has been turned upside down.
I'll
Let
tell you
us
why I asked
assume
that. I'll tell you.
that
Let me explain
no,
why.
let-
Let me explain
let
why
me
I asked the
finish,
question.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay,
Let me
okay,
finish.
okay.
That here's a man who was really truly in love with a woman, and I've seen them together, and it was very obvious that he was completely besotted by Indrani. Even after so many years of marriage, he would never leave her side. I met them at parties and so on. He was always with her. And suddenly he finds that he's been living a whole life of lies, that she had built this
But
whole
what if? But I'll tell you now.
completely-
Let me interject here now, Anil. The reason I asked that question is, it seems because of the contradictions that he too could have been part of those lies. That he could have been told by his son, by his, other people, that in
No,
fact,
okay,
this young woman was Indrani's daughter. That, by the way, the car in which Sheena is
And
alleged
he's
to have
a
been
bright
killed.
man. He's not some
And
dumb
let me just
man in
complete
love,
this.
you
The car is parked
After
in his
15
garage.
years.
The car with the body is parked in his garage, Anil.
It's too off.
Exactly.
Tableen,
Yes,
you're
but
saying it's
listen,
too, Tableen.
It's
the
not
point
conceivable
is we are sitting here.
Yes.
We are sitting here
Yeah.
and discussing Peter's motives, discussing his money matters. Now, which of us would like our lives to be revealed like this?
But if there
He
was
may
a
be
murder,
Bad luck that he was married to a
The
bad
murder
woman.
may not
boot of our
involve
car
him.
every
The
day.
murder may not involve him at all.
I'm
The
not saying
murder
it
may not
does.
involve him
I'm
at
not
all.
saying it does.
How
Okay,
could he not know?
Tableen,
But
How
his
could he
own
not know?
ex-mother-in-law says
His
he
wife
knew.
comes back
he knew
after-
that was the daughter.
I think Nina,
Yeah,
if we can cut to her,
exactly.
please. Yes. Sorry. I'll start with you, Tavleen. You're saying, how could he not know?
I'm saying to you that his wife comes back after killing her daughter with the daughter's body, this is what we know so far, in the car.
Yeah.
Parks it in his garage.
Imagine.
She might have been a little bit agitated. How is it that he did not notice? There must be, unless she's superhuman or subhuman. In the past 3 years, did he not once notice guilt or, fear, nervousness? It's inconceivable.
Why are you making an assumption that Indrani
May
would
I
feel
come in,
these
Barkha,
emotions?
please?
Psycho.
Well, that's
But
what
why
I
are
said.
you
I
making
find-
these
You
assumptions?
didn't hear me. I
Barkha.
said unless she's subhuman or superhuman.
Okay.
Subhuman.
Right. So-
May I come in for
Yeah,
a minute?
Nina
I'm
and
just
then
saying
Raveena.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, Rahul knew that her passport was in his apartment, and yet he was told that she was in America. How can someone travel without their travel documents?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for 3 years they kept quiet about the travel document being right there in the apartment. The whole that to me is the most surprising. That for 3 years with the internet and with Facebook and all the social platforms we have, that no one reached out, and now that the story is out, everyone, there's a floodgate of stories and everybody is jumping on the bandwagon, but in the cold, harsh reality of truth, I think a mother killing a child is horrific, and then being cold-blooded enough to keep the body in her apartment and take it and dispose of it in that horrific manner,
this
burning
is a charge right now.
and,
This is
and
not
smashing the face.
I just want to be legally
it's
cautious
all,
on this.
even if
this
it's
is an
completely
accusation right now.
speculative.
This is an accusation
No,
right now.
no, it's even if it's in the realm of speculation. I'm just saying that there was proof that she was not missing, that she had she had died.
Yeah,
I
for 3
think
years
there was
she
enough.
was not there.
For 3 years, no one,
was
killed.
including
her brother, who had so-called evidence that he's giving the
I think
police
I
today.
think Sheena's
He
friend
should
is
have
trying
come
to say
forward.
something. Ornab, I know all that. Can I just get a word in? Ornab, I know all Sheena's friends. Raveena, hang on 1 second. Ornab, I know all of Sheena's friends are mobilizing a Justice for Sheena campaign. You're among them. I heard you mutter under your breath, she was killed. But the fact is, what for you is what you want to say about Sheena today? Yes.
It was a homicide.
Yes.
Like, what can I say about it? This whole thing is so murky.
Yeah.
Like, even we never expected this to happen, even though, in the first year, I was like, I was writing mails, where is Sheena? Telling her friends, calling her, asking her brother. If they say she has gone abroad, she is not, she is working there. Okay, fine, for 1 year it's like that. For the second year again, I'm asking, she is not replying anything. She could have replied my mails. Maybe she is away from Facebook, but no
why
reply.
Was the brother
then
not
again, he is
why
saying,
was
no,
the brother
things are
not alarmed?
going.
Can I just ask, why was Sheena Bora not alarmed?
Maybe
why was he not alarmed?
Exactly, maybe he knew it all along. Maybe because he was lying. Everyone is lying here.
Everyone, including her brother.
Everyone.
And her grandparents also, do you think they don't know anything?
Yeah, the whole... Maybe the grandparents were kept in shadows. For dark, unka to halat, it's really bad right now. Like, no, it's like they have given hope on their life. They are just, surviving.
Raveena, this point by Ornab.
I asked them once.
Yeah, okay, sorry, complete your point, Ornab. You asked them?
Nothing. Like, I did go to her house once. I did meet her grandfather, who told me that she was in Calcutta with her other father. Maybe that's what I assumed also. Maybe we heard that it's us also who came to know that she had another father.
What do you mean another
we
father?
We always thought there was one father.
The one in Calcutta.
What do you mean another
the
father?
Second father.
The husband.
No, the one before her first husband.
Like the one in Calcutta.
Calcutta is
Vidhi's
Vidhi's father.
Husband.
Sanjeev Khanna, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Sanjeev Khanna.
Yeah. Maybe not her. Yeah, no.
But
no
I'm more
father
interested in the point you've raised right now. Raveena,
like
come in
her
on
other
that.
husband.
The brother. The brother of Sheena, Sheena's brother, who today is saying that there's been a massive cover-up. I know why my sister was killed. Surely your brother would look for you if you have not surfaced and been in contact for 3 years.
Of course.
Yeah, Raveena. Does this confirm your... I'm just trying to get Raveena in now. Raveena, yeah.
I believe Indrani was a very persuasive kind of person who could make most people believe what she said. I have seen how she functioned. It could be possible that the family back in Guwahati was being funded by her, and they were under threat not to probe too deeply because the money would stop. That's a very high possibility. I would also like to say that Rahul, Peter's son, went to the cops twice in Bombay, and I'm wondering why the cops didn't do anything. Was that a genuine missing persons report, or was it just there, or what was it all about? And if they didn't react then, what happened suddenly? Okay, we know what happened, they found a lead, etc. But that's shocking. And I'm very glad Rakesh Maria is on the job. I mean, he's a great cop. And I hope they find out what the truth is. But, coming back to the whole story of the boot of the car and all of that, how many of us look into our boots every day?
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, she could have very well come home and had a glass of wine and said, "Hi, Peter, how have you been?" I am shocked at the story about the snoozing ex-husband.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Who was snoring in the
car
car
while someone's struggling and fighting and screaming for their lives.
This girl was being murdered. I mean, what's going on?
What for all of
Is
you?
she deluded?
Can I ask all of you? Can I ask all of you to share what you believe is the most striking contradiction of what we know so far? What is the biggest unanswered question? Tavleen, let me start with you. There have been so many, but what leaps out at you?
Motive.
Yeah.
I can't understand why she would do this.
Yeah. Anil?
Well, I want to know what Indrani actually has said to Rakesh Maria. Because so far, the whole story and the whole police case is built on the confession of the driver. Now, how reliable is the driver's testimony? We do not know that. You know, we are all going under the assumption that that one story is true.
She's been interrogated.
Indrani might deny it.
The cell phones
Mr.
are all
Khanna might deny it.
in the same place.
And then in the court of law, will it stand up? And you know, when the case comes up in court,
That's
it
where
may
the
just be
media's role is so
thrown
important.
out.
He's contradicting himself. That's
Well,
where the media's role is so important
No,
because it's
no, but is the
circumstantial
media
evidence.
going to prove it, Tavleen? Is the media going to be able to prove it in court?
In Jessica Lal's
They-
case, the trial judge let him go. It was because the media started making a racket that there was a retrial. Okay?
But
let's not
No,
forget that.
in the Jessica Lal case, there were eyewitnesses.
Who refused?
You know, it was a
who
completely different case.
No, who refused to stand up with what
But Tavleen, the point has been
No,
made that
let's
till
not
one
meander.
minute. The point has been made that till there's a DNA test and the results come in, we actually can't scientifically prove whether Sheena was a daughter or a sister. So do we have to reserve judgment till then? I think that some of the criticism that's come the media's way, or what we're all saying today, is that we have declared guilt and innocence already.
I don't think every channel has, but I think that, you know, when you have 340 news channels reporting a story, there will be some that will go over the top. But by and large, the channels I've been watching, and I'm watching only English and Hindi, have reported it very responsibly.
Raveena,
so.
you said that you do not believe the motive has anything to do with a kind of sexual dimension to it. That it's not about a stepson and a stepdaughter having an affair. So, you know, how deep are we going to go into the lurid details of this sordid saga, Raveena?
Sure, you know, I think the
as
son,
deep as
One second, Raveena first, then Nina.
Pictures.
Both of you speaking together.
You know, the son very clearly said he had pictures of which related to his sister Indrani and Peter.
Yeah.
What did he mean? He had phone conversations between Indrani, Peter and his sister, which alludes to something more than a mother-daughter, you know, stepfather-daughter kind of relationship.
Yeah.
I find that most of the secrets are not being unearthed by the press or the selective leaks by the police or anybody else. I think it's the family themselves that have, you know, that have a web of lies that that are being unraveled by their own family. You know, it's got very little to do with outside elements. There's a grandmother-in-law, there's the son or the brother of the victim, there's Peter, there's Indrani, there's a driver. It's not circumstantial. I believe that it is premeditated and it's tipped over that point where, you know, one has to say we shouldn't speculate because you should go to the court of law. I think the truth is coming out from the family itself, and that is where the million-dollar question
I do have to end.
why it all happened.
A quick last word to you, Raveena. Raveena, quick last word.
I think a couple of key facts are missing. One, if this driver was the same driver that was with Peter all these years, then Peter was in the know. We don't know who the driver was exactly, which driver it was. Secondly, who is the father of Sheena and Mikhail?
Yeah, exactly. Who is
the father? We don't know
a
lot of details. We are sitting here conjecturing and speculating. This is the first time I've been on a discussion where we've talked so much about the case. But I think everybody knew. I think everybody knew more than they're saying they knew. That is very obvious to me as just a person observing.
To say something.
Yeah. Arnav, you want to say something because you first said everybody is lying, and that's actually what Raveena is saying as well, that everybody is lying.
Yes.
Arnav?
Web of lies.
Whoever is lying, the fact that Sheena is dead and can't be brought into life is a fact, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But what we want right now is the, you know, justice. Is whoever did it should like just come up front, you know.
Yeah, but that's not
whoever
about to
was
happen,
in the
I
whole
think.
thing.
That's not about
it.
to happen. Anil, last thoughts, and then I'll give the last
That's it,
word
and
to
it's high time at the end of
Yes, we must not forget that there is a
Yeah.
young woman who was murdered here in all our sort of other conversations. Anil,
Yeah,
yes, Anil.
exactly.
Anil,
We don't have to
My
go
last-
into like, you know, everything.
Yes, got that out now. Giving the last word to Anil, Nina and Tavleen, then we've got to end. Anil, yeah, briefly please.
Yeah, my last comment would echo my first, which is that the media is overstepping itself. It is going into salacious detail, is going into titillation. A lot of these things should be done by the police, not by the media. They should not be aired. This discussion that we've had has gone into details which we should never have gone into.
But the problem
And I feel very
is,
strongly about it.
the problem,
Exactly.
Anil,
The
I
family
actually
has
share your
provided the
discomfort, but the
details,
problem,
Anil.
Tavleen, is that those details have become germane to the murder.
And not only
Yeah.
that, it's not as if the
And a
media
young girl
found
was
them out.
killed.
It's what Nina pointed
And
out.
for
It's the
3
family.
years.
Nina,
there
hang
was
on,
no-
Nina, hang on a second. Tavleen, yeah.
It's the family that has come forward with details that the media
Yeah,
could never have found
exactly.
out with investigative journalism.
Yeah.
So to blame the media
Exactly,
for
I
providing
agree with
salacious details is wrong. It is the family itself. I can't understand why Peter Mukherjee gave 20 interviews yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
the
can't
first
understand
day,
why the
yeah.
brother was so eager to speak. Unless what Raveena says is true, is that they're all somehow guilty, and you know it's an unraveling. But the media, with
There's a
all the
massive
investigative journalism at our tips, we
yeah.
couldn't have found these details out unless the family had spoken. They could have closed the door.
Nina, quick last word. Anil raises a point that has become part of the debate. How far does the media go into exploring issues that could be considered private, a private matter between consenting adults? How do you separate that from a criminal investigation that you report on as a professional journalist?
Barkha, I reiterate what Tavleen just said, and I said it earlier, that the family themselves are you know, they are the leaking, they're leaking stories of a story a minute. And the more the media tries to find out, the more, you know, fodder they're getting. And if they sit on it, then they fail in their role of media watchdog. So I just feel that yes, some salacious bits may trip the light fantastic, and it's not so nice.
Yeah.
But in such a web of deceit and sadness and pain and a murder which involves a 24-year-old, I think it all started with Indrani's age, if you ask me. I think she's much older than Peter believes she is, or anyone else does, because you don't have a baby when you're 14 or 15, not two of them, you don't pump out, you know, at that age. So, you know, it's a whole web of lies, and I feel that till the truth is summated in a court of law or the police, I think if the family kept quiet, then everything would, and they've got good lawyers and went through the regular process of defending the person they love, I think many of these nasty, horrible stories would not have been part of our purview. And therefore I feel the media has just played a watchdog and reporting what they're hearing, but the rest is...
We will have to leave it. We will have to leave it there.
It's up to conjecture.
I think all of you make the fair point that most of these details are actually coming from family insiders. We have no access to, you know, who had a relationship with whom, who fathered whose child, who cheated, who did not cheat. We don't know. And Anil, I do wish there was a way to keep all of that separate and just the germane question being answered. Who killed Sheena Bora? Was it Indrani Mukherjee? And who all knew? Let's not forget in all of this that there is a young woman in her 20s who was killed in 2012, and till 2015 nobody even went to look for her. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us on the Buck Stops.